hour tonight. Mourners outside the court, flags at half staff there and at the White House. President Trump has just weighed in after a campaign stop in Minnesota. CNN's Caitlin Collins joins us now from there. Caitlin, what did the president say?
Well, Anderson, it was kind of a jarring moment because this news broke just after the president had gotten on stage here in Minnesota. And so he was up on stage for close to 2 hours, not knowing the news of what had happened, and obviously altered his campaign that he's experiencing. And then he found out from reporters as he was walking back to Air Force One, and he weighed in, and here's what he said.
She just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
So, Anderson, you see there his first comments as he found out we're focusing on RBG's legacy, talking about that, and then he went up the stairs to Air Force One, and they just took off a few moments ago. But of course, the question next is going to be the political aspect of this and the president nominating someone. And we know this has been something that he thinks could help boost his standing with voters even before there was a vacancy on the court. That's why he unveiled that list at the White House just a few weeks ago. And now this is going to be something that fundamentally shifts the trajectory of this campaign. It's going to change what these two candidates are talking about on a regular basis. And one problem the president has had is with suburban women voters. And he has told people in the last several months he does think that if he nominated a woman to the Supreme Court, that it could help boost his standing with women. So all of these factors and all of these conversations are going to be something that we're discussing over the next several weeks, Anderson.
Yeah, Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, thanks very much. Joining me now, our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, the struggle that she had with cancer, I mean, it goes back a long time, and just it points to the resilience and the strength that she had. I mean, it's extraordinary how long she was battling forms of cancer.
It really was. I mean, we would follow her for some time through these hospitalizations and the various types of treatments. And you remember it was back in 1999. 20 years ago, she had developed colon cancer, and then it was first time that she developed pancreatic cancer was in 2009. Now, it was pretty early stage at that point, Anderson. They thought it had been treated well. She underwent surgery for it, and she seemed to have, recovered from that and not had any problems until last year, where there was evidence that there was some recurrence of this cancer. She again underwent treatment for it. You may remember in January of this year, she said she was cancer-free. And keep in mind, in the midst of all that, she also had a bout with lung cancer. And she fell, broke her ribs, as you just heard a few minutes ago. And while they were, evaluating her for those broken rib fractures, that's when they found the lung cancer. So she'd been through a lot. But in January this year, she thought she was cancer-free, but it was over the summer that she developed a recurrence. She tried immunotherapy, but there was spread of this cancer to her liver, and most recently, I believe it was in July, Anderson, the types of therapy that she was then getting at that point were no longer considered curative therapy. And I think at that point, doctors knew that that whatever treatment she was getting was not going to cure her pancreatic cancer or even, fully treat it.
And yet she continued to work. I mean, that's the thing that's so stunning to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible, and some of these therapies are, they're tough. I mean, they're tough for anybody. Someone who is much younger, certainly for someone in their 80s, it's a lot to endure. And she, as you point out, went through it, and then we were always surprised because we thought she was going to be in the hospital for longer, and then the next alert we would get from her office was say that, the justice was discharged from the hospital today. She's, plans on returning to work, and she sees no reason that she couldn't return to work. It was always pretty remarkable. I mean, I know people always talk about her resilience and how tough she was and her workouts and stuff like that, but I can tell you just from a medical perspective to go, cracking your ribs, going through rib fractures, going through a lung cancer operation, having all the therapies that she had for pancreatic cancer, all of that following, she also had a stent put into one of her coronary blood vessels in her heart, the colon cancer. I mean, it's remarkable. And a lot of that, sort of started for her in her late 60s. So she was already older at that point, and then over the following 20 years, she really went through a lot and seemed to bounce out of it each time.
And yet, I mean, all the things she did over the last 20 years is just, I mean, it's extraordinary what she did with the time that she had. What a life. Yeah. Sanjay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I want to go to